This morning, I want to address a topic that has to do with thinking about our practice as not just something we do here and there, but really is a way of life, a way of really just being in the world. And so the title of my talk is When We Sit with Everything. And that's a quote from the Japanese Zen monk Senryu Suzuki, who died in 1971, and he's really credited with bringing at least Zen Buddhism to the West. Pretty well-known figure in those circles, and he was known for conveying profound truths in the simplest of words. And his statement, "When you sit with everything," really epitomizes this quote, the essence of our practice, and how it really is about the totality of our lives. And it offers a profound teaching, and we'll get into this in a minute, on mindfulness, on interconnectedness, on the nature of reality. So I want to explore this morning the layered meaning in that quote and its relevance to our day-to-day lives. You know, and at the surface, this quote really the sitting refers to our seated meditation. And for him, this was not just merely a technique for relaxation or concentration, but it was a way of being fully present in the moment, moment to moment, and embodying the totality of existence. When he said, "When you sit with everything," he was emphasizing the wholeness and the inclusivity of the experience of engaging or walking on this path. And what he's saying there is that to sit with everything means to embrace the entirety of our experience, internal and external, without judgment, without resistance, and without distraction. You know, in meditation, it's not a way to escape from the chaos of the mind or the world around us. It's not a form of avoidance. Nor is it an attempt to cling to those moments of happiness, peace, or clarity. Rather, it is, as we often talk about here, it's to allow our thoughts, to allow our emotions, to allow our sensations and external experiences to arise and pass away naturally like clouds drifting across the sky. So the act of sitting, the experience of sitting, becomes a microcosm of life itself. In other words, the practice of accepting everything as it is. That's what he's talking about here. You know, at a deeper level, he's talking, so that's sort of the obvious level. At a deeper level, Suzuki's words are talking about the fundamental Buddhist teaching of interconnectedness, this notion that there's no separation between each of us and the world in which we live, between the meditator and the meditator's environment. When we sit, we are not sitting in isolation. We are not sitting alone. We are sitting, in his view, and this is one I think is really important, with the entire universe. Each breath we take is shared with all other living things. The cushion or chair we sit on is made from countless conditions: earth, water, sunlight, human labor, that have come together to support us in the moment. In this sense, sitting with everything is a recognition of the non-duality of existence, that everything is interconnected. You know, dualistic thinking divides the world into subject and object, self and other, good, bad, right, wrong. But our practice is really an effort to transcend some of those divisions, to see the totality of everything. You know, revealing the underlying unity of all things. When we sit in meditation or when we are walking around more mindfully, we are being with the sound of the wind, the chirping of the birds, the thoughts in our minds, the emotions in our hearts, the response to others. The list goes on. And all these arise together in the same field of awareness, inseparable from one another. It's all part of the totality of our experience. Now, another important aspect of this is the call to face reality as it is. This is a challenge in our practice. To sit with everything is not always easy. It means sitting not just with joy and gratitude. That's the easy part. But with the pain, with the sorrow, with the discomfort, with the doubt, with the fear. It means sitting with parts of ourselves that we might prefer to avoid. the less admirable parts as we see them, the doubts, the fears, the regrets that arise when we get quiet, when we get still. You know, one thing some people, when they start meditation, get really upset about is once they get quiet, the stuff starts to bubble up. It's the stuff they've been trying to push away. So Suzuki's words remind us that true practice, this true path, is not about escaping from life's difficulties. Rather, it is embracing them with openness and compassion. There's the totality. In a broad sense, this teaching encourages us to extend the practice of sitting with everything into our daily lives. Because as you know, life is full of challenges, life is full of uncertainties. And it's very tempting to push away the unpleasant. It's almost our default, or to cling to what is pleasant, another default. But Suzuki reminds us and invites us to approach life with the same equanimity and presence that we try to cultivate in our sitting practice, allowing us to meet each moment with acceptance and grace. So his statement is a profound affirmation of wholeness, Modern life tries to, and it often does, fragment our attention, pulling us here, pulling us there, phones, texts, traffic, whatever. And can we be fully present with all that going on? You know, our minds are busy planning the future, regretting the past, distracting ourselves with endless stimulation. It's just constant. But in this context, Suzuki's teaching is a radical call to come back to the moment. Let go of this planning, let go of these regrets, let go of this constant need for stimulation. To fully inhabit our bodies and minds and experiencing life in the moment in its totality. Because what he's saying there is that when we sit with everything, we practice being whole. This wholeness is not something we need to achieve or attain, and this is where the Zen people really focus. It is already there, already present, waiting to be recognized. And by sitting in stillness and with awareness, we come to see that nothing is left out of this moment. Everything is right here, right now. Even in our imperfections and even in our struggles, we are complete. So when Suzuki says, when you sit with everything, it's a profound reminder of both the simplicity and the depth of our practice, and inviting us to embrace the fullness of life, to recognize our interconnectedness with all things, and to meet each moment with openness and, most importantly, with acceptance. So whether we're sitting in our formal practice every day or navigating the complexities of daily life, his words remind us that we are never separate from the world around us. We don't exist in a vacuum. By fully inhabiting the present moment, we realize that we are already sitting with everything, this vast, boundless reality of existence itself. This is a teaching about how we live our lives. And how it's an invitation to bring the wisdom into every aspect of our being, to see the infinite in the ordinary, to rest in the wholeness that is always there. All we have to do is get quiet enough to see it, to recognize it. And through this practice, we learn not just to sit with everything, but sit as everything, realizing the profound unity at the heart of all things. So that is when we sit with everything.